Hi there, I'm Terry Johnson of Terry Johnson Creates. And today I'm going to share with you how you could easily create these two cute designs in Silhouette Studio. So often I'm looking for a design and I can't find exactly what I want, or I look at something and I think I could do that and I don't want to pay for it. So let me show you how we can do that using drawing shapes, Flexi-Shapes, edit points. I'm also using compound path and the glyph tab and in the textile panel. There's a lot of other things I'll show you. So let's go ahead and get started. But first, I want to talk to you about these fonts. These are two fonts that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. I'm going to provide the link for these below this video, as well as a link to download these completed designs in SVG format, studio format, and PNG format. So let's talk for a minute about these fonts. Here I am on the Creative Fabrica site, and this is the script one, Andalentina. I don't know if that's how you say it, but close enough. And it is just beautiful. You have all of these options of different swirls and glyphs, and there's just so many things that you could use this for. And like I said, you can download it for free. Now, when you select this, you're going to see right here, see that little disclaimer that says cancel anytime. What that means is you have to create an account and get logged in. But creating an account is free. So when you do that, when you click on download, I'm already in an account, so it wants me to log in. It's going to tell you that you get a free account where you get 10 free designs, or it's good for 30 days. So if you use your 10 designs before 30 days, then it will automatically convert to a paid account unless you cancel it. And so you can see right now that it's $47 a year. And then here is our Christmas Carol font, the second one. Again, super cute. And you have two options here. You have this cute one with all the glyphs and the alternative letters, as well as some dingbat fonts here that you can use in your designs, and then a solid font with just kind of block letters. And again, it's free, but you have to create an account. So I highly recommend an account with a subscription, $47 for the year. And let me just show you something. You get so many designs. There are literally millions of designs, or at least that's what they say. I didn't count. Millions of designs and fonts here in Creative Fabrica. And just as an example, if you're a fan of Dreaming Tree, oops, there it is. I already searched it previously. All of the Dreaming Tree files are now available here in Creative Fabrica. These are beautiful 3D designs, and they have all of them. They have partnered up with Creative Fabrica, and you can download all of these. This could be some of your 10 that you wanted to download, or you can get a membership and just download these all year long. They have so many. So anyway, you can start this free trial and get at least 10 designs if you decide not to sign up. All right, so let's go back to Silhouette Studio. So here's our designs, and we're going to start with the first one. Let me go ahead and move our snowman design out of the way. Let me get him over here out of the way. And I'm going to show you how I created this one. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is the star. Now, this is a Flexi shape, which Flexi shapes are a business edition feature. So if you are not running business edition, you will not see this tab on the left-hand side. But if you upgrade to business edition, and I will link for you a really great deal on an upgrade, you can run Flexi shapes. But if not, you can still download this in the file that I provided for you. So I'm going to come over here and select this star and come over here to the workspace and draw a star out. Now you're going to see that as I draw this, that tail gets longer. You could make it short if that's what you wanted, but we wanted this to look, like the Bethlehem star. So the different nodes on different Flexi shapes do different things. So I'm going to select this one, and it makes these points a little wider, which is what I want. And then this one impacts the depth of your angle. So I like that, something just like that. If you wanted, again, you could make your tail a little bit longer. But now we need to convert this to a path so that it is an editable design that Silhouette Studio, that your Cameo can read. So all you have to do is right click and say convert to path. Now, if for some reason you wanted to edit this, we're not going to edit this star. We're going to do some edit points on our snowman. You're going to double click to get your edit points. And here you could do editing like this, if that's something you wanted to. But when it is still a flexi shape, you cannot. So that's how easy it is to create that Christmas star. Now let's talk about our font or our glyphs. I'm going to close out our point editing. We're going to open up our text style panel here. And I'm going to deselect that because it won't let me come over here with something selected. And there it is, Andalentina. This is the font that I want. And we're going to come over and select the text tool and click in our workspace. And I'm going to type the word Merry Christmas, upper and lower case. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let's scroll up a little bit, and I'm going to enlarge this so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. And actually, the easiest thing to do right now is I'm going to fill it with a really light color so that you can still see the cut lines, but it makes it a little bit easier to see on the video. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that this Y and this S are not the same as this one up here. So these are glyphs, these two, and they just make it a little fancy. I mean, this looks fine as is, but this makes it a little fancier. So the first thing we're going to do is come over here and we're going to justify this right in the center. We're going to align it in the center right there. And I'm going to move with my line spacing tool that a little bit closer. But let's wait on that because we're going to add some swirlies. So we might need to have a little more space. All right, so I'm going to click back on this to get the green editing box. And you're going to see that the cursor is right there behind the Y. So we're going to come over to the second tab in the text style panel. And you're going to see here all of the glyphs that are available on this font. Now, they're always pretty tiny. This one's not too bad. But I'm going to come out here, and this just enlarges the icons so that you can see them a little bit better. And it's going to go through all the different glyphs that are available. Now, we already have this pretty fancy C and M, so I'm not worried about that. What I want is something swirly at the end. So let's come on down until we get to what we're looking for. Now, when you hover over these, they do enlarge, so that's really helpful. And I'm going to come down, and you'll see that not all letters are included. So here's an M, N, no O, P, Q, R, T. So they're not all included. So you just have to look until you find what you want. So I'm going to keep on going. Let's see. And here is, I wish there was a better way to see these, but here is the Y that I want to use right here. All right, so I'm going to come back over. I'm going to delete this Y, and then I'm going to click here and add this one instead. So it just makes that a little fancier. Now I'm going to come down and do the same thing with that S. So I deleted the S, and I'm going to continue to scroll down till I find a fancy S. And there's one right here. And if you've never used these glyphs before, like I said, you hover over that icon and it will show it to you large. Oops, you gotta be selected over here. And now I'm gonna click on the S. Oops, I don't need to. Okay, so now we have the fancy S and the fancy Y. And I could still adjust these a little bit, move them a little bit closer together. So I'm going to decrease the line spacing about like that. Now, you'll also notice there's a lot of overlaps here. See how? And you don't want those because if you're cutting this out of vinyl or HTV or whatever, it will cut out chunks out of your previous letters. So what we want to do is right-click and weld. Now that welds everything together so you no longer have those overlaps, but it also ungroups everything. So while it's all selected, I'm going to go ahead and say Command or Control G and group it all back together. So now we have it centered in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and change this. I'll make it green since the other one was red. And now we have our Merry Christmas, and we can add our star. And again, I'm going to come up here and color this in. And we'll make it kind of this gold right here and bring it down. And you can do this any way that you want. Now, this would be perfect to put on a gift tag. You could make a card out of it. You could cut it out of vinyl and put it on a package. Anything that you wanted to do with this, you could. You could make a print and cut. Now, if you make a print and cut, you may want to change the line colors. So I like to do that because sometimes for print and cut, it makes it just a little bit bolder. So I would come here and I would select the yellow. I mean, the red lines won't show up, but I like to have just that little finite extra of my color. And again, here, and we'll make it the green. And then you can save it and do print and cut if that's what you want to do. You can put it on the front of a card. All right, so that's just how easy this one is. All right, so now let's take a look at our snowman design. Now, first the text. This is pretty simple. This is the other font that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica, and it's called, on the Creative Fabrica site, it's called Christmas Carol. When I download it, it's called Christmas Carol. But once I come over here to Silhouette Studio and I type in Christmas Carol, nothing comes up. I have no Christmas Carol. Now, it took quite some investigation for me to figure out, and if I go to my library and type in Christmas Carol, there's nothing. There wouldn't be, but there's nothing. Well, there is, but there's no font that we're looking for. And even in my font book, I'm on a Mac, even on my font book, I couldn't find Christmas Carol. But with some investigation, I found that this is actually entitled Christmas Fun. Don't ask me why, but it is. So if you install this to your computer and reopen Silhouette Studio, it will show up as Christmas Fun. Don't ask me. I don't know why. All right, so we've got Christmas Fun selected. I'm going to just show you here. If you type this in all caps, you get the solid letters like this. If you type this in, lowercase, then you get the fun, funky letters like this. So again, what I did, let's just delete this. What I did was type Merry Christmas. You can do that right here, all in lowercase. And come over here and justify this in the center. And I think that line spacing is just fine. I don't need to move that. I don't think. You could if you wanted. And now we don't have anything overlapping, so you don't need to weld these. However, you don't want to leave them as a font. You want to, again, convert them to a path. Okay? So that way, like for example, when I share this with you, even if you don't have this font on your computer, you'll be able to open it because it's no longer a font, but it is a cut file. All right. So that's just how easy. Now, let me just show you. If we come over to the glyph panel here in Christmas Fun, again, we're going to scroll down, and there's not a lot of glyphs here. There are some different punctuation and accent marks. But if you come all the way down here, oops, that's the wrong font. I thought things didn't look right. That's interesting. There we go. There's not much here. So if you scroll down, you will see all the letters. But the most interesting is you have these cute little dingbats. I don't know what you want to call them. Yeah, a little Christmas tree, a reindeer, a Santa, snowflake. All of these are very cute. And you could definitely add these to your design. So for example, if I wanted to add these to my design, I would come over here, click on my text tool, and I just simply, so then you could use these snowflakes. You could go ahead and convert to path, And you could ungroup them. And let's color them all blue. And maybe enlarge them a little bit. And then you could just sprinkle these all around your design like this and add these little snowflakes to your design. I could copy another one and put it over here. Like really cute, really dress it up. So you have a lot of options when using this font. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you now how to create the snowman. Let me move all of this out of the way, including the snowflake, and I'm going to move all of this over here. Okay, so I think I'm going to put this on another page because it's getting kind of crowded here and we got a lot of designing to do. So I'm going to open up another page and I'm going to paste him right here. I'm going to set him over here for reference and we're going to start with his hat. I'm going to come over to the Flexi-Shapes and I used this shape right here. All right, I'm going to come over and draw a shape like this, about like that. You can adjust it later, don't worry about it. And again, you will see that there are all of these nodes and they do different things. So like I would make this a little wider so that it looks more like our hat. And if you wanted to, you could just grab these nodes and, just adjust it any way you see fit. Okay. So I think I might want to do this just a little bit wider. Okay. Now, this doesn't look like that. So here's what we're going to do. Again, we're going to right click and convert to path because now I want edit points. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see what we're doing. And when I double click to get the edit points, you'll see that this window opens up. If you want to, the other option, let me go back. If you want to click here, then you got to select it and you get the edit points. All right. All right. So now we want to add some shape to our top hat. Give it a few little curves. I'm going to select this top left edit point and you'll see this line here turn a darker red. I'm going to come over to the point editing panel and say make curve. But that's a little bit more than I want. So I'm simply going to grab this handle and bring it down closer, more like that. Do the same thing over here. Grab this handle and bring it down to give the top of our hat a shape, something like that. Now again, with the edit points, I'm going to select this one and we're going to say make curve. And again, that's a whole lot more than I want. So I'm going to bring this in like this, come down here, and we'll bring this in like that. And it just shapes it, gives it a little more shape. And we've got to adjust here our top again. So you kind of have to play with this. This is still a lot more than I want down here. I'm going to bring this in. So you just kind of play around with this until you get the shape that you're looking for. All right, that's a lot closer to what I want. And again, we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to make this a curve. Now, this is a little cartoon snowman, so it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. And we'll bring that curve in like this. Come up here. We'll bring this curve in like this. And you can see also as I bring it in more, it just gives it a little shape. Now that's gotten a little wonky at the top. So we're just gonna bring this in like this and up here and in like that. So again, you just play around with these handles until you get the shape that you're looking for. And that's almost there. Let me just bring this in just a little bit more. All right, that looks pretty good. And that is the top of our hat. Now, that may not be exactly like the one I created earlier, but it's the same process. Mine's a little different, but it's pretty close. So now I want to make the brim here of this hat. So I'm going to come over to the drawing tool shapes, and I'm going to select this rounded rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rounded rectangle about, it's a little bit bigger than the hat, but we'll adjust it in a minute. And I'm going to click on this node and hold down the Shift key while I adjust the four corners. So we have a shape rounded about like this. Now, again, we need to convert this to a path. Let's see if we did that. Right click and convert to path. There we go. And double click to get our edit points. And I want this to be a little curved. So I'm going to select, well, let's select this one over here. And again, we're going to say make curve. And honestly, that looks pretty good, just like that. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to come down here to this one. And again, make curve. Now, I want this curve to be going up like this over here. So I'm going to grab this handle right here and bring it up about like that. Grab this handle and bring it up about like that. I can adjust that just a little. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now it's a little wide, so I'm going to go ahead and make it a little narrower. And what I'm going to do is align these two together. So before I do that, though, I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key and make a copy. And we're going to maybe make this just a little thinner. About like that. Select both of these, come up to the Quick Access toolbar here, and say Align Center. Now we're going to right-click and weld. So now we have a top hat. Now that might be a little tall, so let's go back. I'm going to undo. I'm going to select this top portion, and I'll bring it down just a little bit like this. And again, oops, we're going to align in the center. Right-click. I'm going to move that brim up just a little bit. So we're going to select them both. Right-click and weld. Okay, so there we have our hat. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it black now. Now, I want to create this band there, and we're using this rounded rectangle. And I'm going to go ahead and make that red. Make it any color your little heart desires. Oops, you got to select it first, though. And we're going to make that red. Now, I'm going to adjust that to fit my hat a little bit. I'm going to make this a little thinner. And maybe just a little more narrow. And bring it up where it's fitting about like that. And again, if you wanted to, you could align this in the center. All right. But I don't like that. It's aligning to the center of the brim. I'm going to make it more like this. And now we have our top hat. Okay, I'm going to right-click and group this together. Move it over here. Now we need our snowman face. All right, so now that we have his hat all made, we're going to come over and select the ellipse tool to create his face. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to give me a perfect circle. Anytime you hold down the Shift key with a shape, it gives you that perfect shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill this in just a little bit with a pale gray, just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. Now I'm going to place the hat on his head, but we're going to go ahead, right-click, and send the face to the back so it looks like the hat is sitting on top of his head. And it might be a little big, so I'm going to bring this in just a little bit like that. Now, if we were to layer this, you're going to see there's a lot of that hat underneath, over top. There's a lot of that face underneath the hat, and we don't want that. So we need to ungroup. If your hat is grouped to the band, ungroup it. We're going to select the face and just the hat, not the band. come over to the modify panel and we're going to say subtract all. Now, that doesn't look like anything has been subtracted, but when you do that, you can see that it is. Now, we don't want the hat to sit exactly on top of that. We want that to overlap just a little bit. So the best way to do that is to double click to get your edit points. And then we're just going to delete this one and delete this one. Let's see, grab it here. All right. So now we can overlap that face or that hat over the face just a little bit, and we don't have a lot of bulk sitting behind our hat like that. There we go. You want to make sure, let me zoom in, I'll show you. You want to make sure this isn't sticking out here. So, okay, more like that. So it matches up. All right. Now let's go ahead, and I'm going to kind of go ahead and angle our little snowman face. All right, so the next thing we want to do is create his face, his smile. So I'm going to select the ellipse tool again, and again, hold down my shift key. So we have something like this. And I'm going to select the knife tool. I'm going to hold down the shift key again to draw. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back. I slipped. And we're going to draw a straight line across this circle. And you'll see up here that I do not have auto apply selected, and it's set to outline. And I'm going to say apply. Now I can delete this top half of the circle, and we're left with this circle right here. We'll adjust that as need be in a minute. And again, I'm going to zoom in so that you can see better what I'm doing. And I think what I'm going to do is take this point value up to make it a little easier for you to see. Now I want his mouth to be made out of those little circles or pieces of coal or buttons, whatever it is. And I'm going to hold down my shift key to draw a small circle. And I'm going to come over here. Now I'm going to go ahead for the moment and close out the edit points. And I'm going to select the replicate panel. Now with my circle selected, I'm going to click on this third icon, which is a grab handle. And I'm going to say show grab handle. And you'll now see this grab handle appear in our circle. And it turns orange when I take my mouse over it. And that is object on a path. I'm going to drag my circle down here to the half circle. And I'm going to, I only have 2 on there now, but I'm going to come over here where it says number of repeats and begin increasing the number of repeats on that half circle, whatever it may be. So I'm going to click back here on this circle and grab that and kind of rotate it a little bit so that it's fairly even. Well, let's see again. It's fairly even on my half circle. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to select this, come over here, and say release copies. I don't need that. Now what that does is it releases it from the shape that we were aligning it to. I want to get, that's not what I want to do. I want to get rid of the line. There we go. Except this one got out of whack. Let's move it back up in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're going to select those all. I'm going to right click and group them together. And I'm going to fill them with black. And you're going to need to scale these so they look appropriate on his face. So I'm going to bring this over here, and they're kind of big. Let's go ahead and use our rotate icon to rotate them, but let's do this and scale it all down. About like that. All right, and let's make his eyes now. It's going to be very similar. Again, we're going, oh, that might be a little small. Let's make it a little bit bigger. You can make it bigger this way, just like that. Okay, I'm going to select my ellipse tool again, and I'm going to draw a circle. And I'm going to color this in black as well. And now we're going to draw another little circle, but this one's going to be oval. Something about like this. We're just trying to make a little accent in the eye. So we're going to make that white. And I'm going to bring this down here and put that on our eye. And I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. All right, so now we have this eye. I'm going to select both parts of the eye, hold down my Option or Alt key, and make another one. So I'm going to put these on our face, and those are a little big. So let's just scale it down. Now I'm going to just delete this one because we want them to be identical. So I'm going to select both of these again, hold down my Option or Alt key, and duplicate. So to make his nose, I'm going to come over for my drawing tools and select the polygon tool. Now it looks like a pentagon, but what I'm going to do is draw it out right here, about like this. And I don't want a pentagon. I don't want 5 sides. So I'm going to grab the slider bar and make it be 3. So now we just have an equilateral triangle. Again, I'm going to right click and convert this to a path. And it's a lot fatter than I want it to be. So we're going to bring this in about like that. Again, we're going to double click on the edit points. I'm going to select this edit point and say make curve, this one and say make curve, and this one and say make curve. All right, so we almost have our carrot shape. I'm going to select it and I'm going to make it more like this, and that might be a little tall, so we'll make it more like that and maybe just shrink down the whole thing. And I'm going to rotate it something like this. It's still too big for that little snowman. So before I make it smaller, let me go ahead and I'm going to make it orange. There we go. There's an orange color. Now I want these little crescent shapes right there. So I'm going to come here to the Flexi-Shapes and I'm going to select this crescent. And I'm going to draw a crescent, something like this. We're going to go ahead and rotate it. And that's probably a little fat, so I'm going to make it a little skinnier, about like this. Right click and convert to path. Now, I don't want it to look so much like a moon, so we're going to select that edit point and delete. Come up here, select that edit point and delete. So now we have this little crescent shape, but I'm going to scale it way down to fit on our carrot. Well, that might be too much. And I'm going to color it white. And if you wanted, you could make it a little fatter and then maybe a little shorter. Nah. Let's do it like this and we'll make the whole thing smaller. All right, I'm going to bring this over to my carrot. I'm going to rotate this and you can put these wherever you want. Maybe just a little bit bigger. All right, so we're going to put one here. Hold down your Option or your Alt key to duplicate and duplicate. And I just put 3 to make it a little more interesting on my carrot. You can do whatever you want. All right, so something like that. I'm going to grab the whole thing and again, scale it. Oops, I didn't get it all. Grab the whole thing. There we go. And scale it down. I think I'm going to move his mouth a little bit until we get his nose in place. Got to group all this together so you don't lose those. Right click and group. Well, not duplicate. We're going to right click and group. All right. I'm going to put his carrot nose up here. I'm going to rotate that just a little bit more. And I'm going to make this a little bigger. Maybe more like that. This is looking a little big, so I'm going to shrink that down, bring it over, and place it on our snowman. And it's looking pretty good. I might make his face, well, we'll just go ahead and leave it like that. Maybe just a little bit bigger, maybe our carrot a little smaller. He's looking a little cross-eyed, so I think I'm going to I'm going to rotate his eyes. Got to grab the white part too. There we go. And that's it. We are all done. We have our snowman. He's get his face a little bit more like this. We've got his mouth and his eyes and his cute little carrot nose. And you can continue adjusting this as you see fit. And again, right click and group this all together. All right. So now you have a cute little snowman. Now I'm going to come back over here and just show you that's it. That's all there is to it. We've created this snowman. We've created the Christmas star and the words Merry Christmas with some snowflakes in 2 different fonts. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned a lot about creating with fonts, shapes, Flexi-Shapes, edit points, object on a path. There are a lot of features in Silhouette Studio that we used in this design. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope if you did that you will like and subscribe to this video. And also maybe check out the All Things Silhouette Club, because we do a lot of this kind of thing. Every month we do designing just like this in the All Things Silhouette Club and make projects. Each lesson is attached to a project. So thanks so much for watching today. And again, make sure you check the links below to download your free font and your free designs that I'm providing for you.